Hello there, everyone. I'm here in Helliston Hospital, Norfolk, England. I've been, incarcerated again for the third time in 5 years. The first time I was incarcerated, the police arrested me saying that I strangled my mother, which was not true. A couple of years later, I was arrested again and tasered, and the police jumped me after tasering me with armed guns, dogs, megaphones, and so on. And I was incarcerated into another asylum called Northgate in Great Yarmouth, Norfolk, England, for 2 weeks, and this is the third time now. And the reason they're giving me is because, I spoke to the police about microwave technology, saying I'm being attacked by it, by directed energy weapons, microwave technology and voice-to-skull technology. And I believe some of my connections I've had, in my life, or have been murdered or silenced or, disappeared, And these are even some people that are not our political activists or flat earthers or anti-vaxxers or conspiracy theorists or researchers or alternative historians, revisionist historians, those in the line of research. These are not people like this. This is just normal people, your everyday people. My next door neighbor, she hanged herself. Her name was Emma Louise Cutting. She was only 41 years old. This is 2020. I believe they killed her to threaten me. And there seems to be some sort of program going on where I used to live, where they're being hurting people. I mean, the girl, 2017, who was moving into my old house on Seaview Road, Munsley, she was 21 years old, and she died in a car incident as well. And my other sister's friend, she was murdered in Thailand, Cambodia border. She was only 21 years old, Amelia Bambritt. Her story's on the website, on the news, on the Google, and in the articles. I believe that's connected to me exposing the Thai military junta who took over Thailand in 2014, and Eric Debay, who was engaged to the daughter of the Thai military general at the time. My other sister Lear, I believe she was forced to jump out of a window, and she suffered minor brain damage because she told me that she heard a voice in her head telling her to jump out of a window, and she followed that voice and she did what it said, and she jumped out of the window and hurt herself, which is not too different to Aaron Dover, again in Thailand, Cambodia and Malaysia. The guy who was exposed in Eric Bay, he apparently fell from a balcony, to his death. There's a few of us out there, Antonio Subriats from Manchester, someone I spoke to, that was Patricia Steer's ex-boyfriend. He lived in Manchester, she lived in America. She had a radio show in America that I was on, and he and her got together, and she moved to Manchester for a little while, and then she moved back to America. They finished with each other, But I spoke to him on Skype and on Google Hangouts. He was a painter, and he was a flat earther, and he's dead now. He died in about 2020, 2021, I think. Rob Skeeber, another flat earther. He's a flat earther stroke, anti-vaxxer. He died as well. Hugh Jorgen, the guy I made the website with, Flat Earth Maps, he died. I mean, some of these deaths can appear to be normal on the surface, but when you realize there's so many of them dying, it's too coincidental, it's too suspicious to think that there's nothing happened to these people, that their lives haven't ended because someone's, made their life end, I believe what they're doing out there, they're using this high technology. And believe me, it exists out there. It's called directed energy weapons and voice-to-skull technology and microwave technology. This weaponry exists because they've used it on me. They've been using it on me since 2019. It's a very dangerous and very evil weaponry. I recommend you research it and learn how to protect yourself from it, because I believe this is the future of evil, and it's the present of evil as well. It's very present, it's very current. It's happening in China, in America, in Russia, and in England especially. From my research this last 5 years, I've realized that the mind control technology goes back to 18th century England, to this gang called the Heirloom Gang, and to a man named James Hilly Matthews, who was the first ever schizophrenic patient. And he said that he was a spy from England who went to France to spy, and he was captured by the French and spent a couple of years in the French prison there. And when he left, he was angry. When he come back to England, he went to the House of Commons and had a go at them and say, "Why did you leave me in France to rot in a jail cell?" And they arrested him and put him in a psych ward called Bedlam, which was very bad at the time. They used to chain patients to the wall and so on. And he's put there, and while there, a psychiatrist interviewed him named John Haslam, and he wrote a book called Illustrations of Madness, and he was given the diagnosis schizophrenia, and is the first ever patient to be given that diagnosis. It was an invented disease basically for this guy. Before that time, they used to call stuff like that melancholy, and mania, and things like this. Well, this guy said while he was in the psych ward that he's being attacked from a distance by a gang called the Heirloom Gang, who have the machines that can attack your brain and attack your body from a distance. And they try to mind control, and they try to plant thoughts and words into your brain, and they torture you and humiliate you and mock you while they torture you. So they're torturing you in your brain and your mind, as well as torturing your body at the same time. And if you look it up, he's probably the first ever targeted individual, the first schizophrenic patient, and he is very interesting. He's a very interesting case study on mind control. This is years before MK Ultra and so on. And if you think about their name, Heirloom Gang, it's a very similar name to the Illuminati, and it's a very similar time period. The Illuminati started in 1776. This was in 1785 time. He died in 1815. 40 plus years old, because in these asylums it's not very good place to be, and you live a short life. It's like, if people are chained up to walls and stuff like this, it's probably not a nice place to be, and so on. It's a bit better here now, but it's still the same, the thought processes behind it, keeping people contained, and is it always the right people? Has all the people that are in here done anything wrong? Some people appear to be in here just for their beliefs, or just because they're different, or look different, or grew differently, or even they're part of a system, part of a they were foster children, they were ethnic minorities, they're fatherless, they're motherless, they're jobless, they're targeted because they got no one to help them, no one to support them, no one to care for them, and it's easy to get them in the system and get them institutionalized, and then they're just slaves and puppets and test subjects to these elite, pharmaceutical agencies, intelligence agencies, where they experiment on these people with, mind-altering drugs from the pharmaceutical companies, and mind-altering and brain-altering and mind-controlling weaponry from the military industrial complex of America and the militaries of China, Russia, and England. So, I phoned the police because I was being attacked 24/7 by these people. They were projecting voices into my brain. They were attacking my stomach, my brain, my teeth. I lost a tooth because they were attacking my teeth. They attacked the nerves and the roots of your teeth. They're attacking my nose. They're attacking my eyelids, so I couldn't sleep. They were attacking my stomach and my belly, which is something they seem to attack a lot. I mean, the word intestines is very close to testing of Satan, Satan testing Jesus. They attack your testicles, they attack the hairs on your body, the hairs in your nose. They attacked my right ear. I lost my hearing for 3 days, twice, because they were attacking my ear. It's not been the same since. These people are very dangerous, and they're using microwave technology, which can parse through walls. They're using gang stalkers, agents. The house or flat I was living in at the time, I was the first person in there because they made me homeless and they put me in a new build council flat. So I was the first person on that estate. There's no one there. And all of a sudden people start moving in there and they're acting very strange. They're not acting like normal humans, normal people. My next door neighbor said that they're on the witness protection, which is very interesting because I wouldn't tell someone I'm on the witness protection if I just met them, and she only just met me. I was a stranger to her. I just asked, how are you, where are you from? And she told me she's on the witness protection, straight away, and I was like, what? You obviously aren't, isn't it? Because you wouldn't say that if you were. Who are you really? But all of a sudden I'm getting microwave pulse waves through my floorboards and through my windows and through my walls. I'm getting attacked at nighttime, sleep deprived, and so on. This weaponry exists 100%. I'll take a lie detector to confirm that, and that I have been attacked by it, and that the government do use this. In China, they use it on political dissidents, people who are political activists who stand up against the communist government or some sort of thing that the communist government have done. They stand up against it and they get targeted by the police, and the police are given these weapons to mock and abuse these political dissidents and political activists, and protesters from a distance, and getting away with it. And the reason they do it is because they want you to kill yourself, so they can project voices into your brain to make you kill yourself. So then they don't get done for it. On 2 levels, there's the moral level where they think, we didn't kill them. They killed themselves. We're not killers. No, we don't kill them. We use these weapons to hurt them, but at the end of the day, it's their choice, even though we told them to do it. But in my eyes, that's still murder. If you force someone to kill themselves by attacking their body and attacking their brain until they give up, and you're projecting your voice into their brain at the same time, telling them to kill themselves, telling them to cut themselves, telling them to jump out of windows or whatever, then to me that's still murder. And I believe these people are very guilty and very evil. And after speaking with them for 5 years, hearing their voice and them talking to me for 5 years, I think these are some of the most evil people I've ever encountered in my life. These are, I've never met anyone as dark or as evil as these people. And they don't like flat earthers. They don't like anti-vaxxers. They don't like political activists. They don't like revisionist historians. They don't like alternative health advocates or doctors. They don't like 911, truthers, not 9/11, they don't like, people who believe in the electric universe theory. They don't like anything that's true. They only care about the false, They keep mocking me all the time, saying every time I say Earth, they say globe, just whispering to me globe, so that, they're mocking me, because I was one of the people who helped start the flat earth awakening and so on. So they're mocking me all the time, trying to, mind control me and hypnotize me into thinking or feeling or saying, the globe earth, instead of the flat earth. So many people have died and so many people have disappeared. And I believe more people out there are in danger. My sister was hit and run. My biological mother, she was mugged. My foster mother, Mary, she was poisoned in Egypt for 2 weeks when she was on holiday there. And I believe they were attacking her throat and stomach with these weapons, stopping her being able to swallow properly and eat food properly. And then she went to the doctors, and the doctors did surgery on her, trying to help her, and it actually got worse. Her throat got worse, her stomach got worse, and she didn't know what was going on, and neither did I at the time, But in hindsight, I understand what they were doing to her. I believe she didn't have any problem at all, and because they were using these long-distance microwave energy weapons, these pulse weapons on her stomach and throat, it gave her the illusion that there was something wrong with her. And so the doctors cut her open to find out, and they tried to fix that problem, and it got worse because there was no problem. They just kept using these weapons on her after she had surgery, and first it seemed like something was wrong. They've done the same thing to me in these last 5 years, so I know exactly what they were doing to her. They can stop you swallowing, I can't swallow pills anymore. I have to have them vitamin and mineral gummies because I can't take pills anymore because they mess with your throat. It's difficult to swallow. Like I said, they mess with your teeth. Lots of tooth because of this. They try to stop you eating, and they keep saying, they mess with your mind and your mouth and your throat and your stomach while you eat, trying to make you sick. They do loads of weird torture tactics to try to hurt you and stop you from sharing information that could help others. Look up these people. They're called targeted individuals. They're people who are targeted by the government, by the police, or by these secret police, or by the military industrial complex, the CIA, or whoever you want to call them. These are, these programs have been going on for a very long time, and they've been attacking and abusing people without people being aware, the public being aware they're doing this. They're using military-grade technology on civilians who can't protect themselves. I mean, the only way people can do a little is by buying Faraday clothing, which is like clothing made of silver, copper, or nickel, or silver bedding and stuff like this, EMF protective anti-radiation clothing or bedding, or curtains and stuff like this. But you can get boards and other insulation boards that have other materials that can protect from microwave attack. These weapons are very futuristic, they're very sci-fi, and the police won't help anyone attacked by them because it's difficult to prove that there's a voice in your head by the government. It's difficult to prove what they've done to you. It's difficult to prove, them guilty, who it is as well, because they use voice cloning software. They try to pretend that it's your family doing it to you, and get you in trouble. I mean, they surrounded me with loads of doppelgangers, these paid agents who looked like my dead father, who died in 2015. They put me to this new build house, and they surrounded me with people who looked just like him, doppelgangers, and they made, they try to make my brain. They kept saying to me in my brain, "Oh, he's still alive. Your father's still alive. He faked his death. He faked his death," and so on. And they kept saying, "Oh, he's gonna kill you," and all this other weird stuff. Which made me paranoid. What's going on? Who are these people? Why is my foster father trying to kill me? Why do these people look like him? It was a very weird time. It was very weird and mystical. It was almost like magic and witchcraft. But it was actually, military, very high-tech military weaponry. They use a camera obscura, which is, light shows on the wall, like cinema. That's Project Bluebeam, holograms and light shows. They use voice-to-skull technology, which is weapons that can project voices and thoughts into people's brains, and torture scripts. These are no different to, you see mobile phones, speaking to someone on a mobile phone is no different to that, It's just projected straight into your brain. They hack into your brain. They know the frequency of your brain. They can hack into the left side of your brain and speak to you, just like now they can have wireless cameras that can see through walls with your wireless router, internet router. There's so much they can do, and they are doing it to people. They're testing it on people. They like to test it on, mental health patients, people who have got criminal record, people who are mixed race, people who are ethnic minorities, people who are Christians, people who are political activists, flat earthers, and so on. It's been 5 years. I don't know how I survived. I felt like I'm gonna die a couple of times here, when I have to just wrap around my body and my brain in silver. I'm not wearing a hat right now, but normally I'm wearing a silver EMF anti-radiation hat, and I recommend everyone get one of those for the future, because they'll be attacking your brain with these long distance weapons, whether they're on telegraph poles, which are like wind towers, or your neighbors are holding these microwave technology weapons. You've got to be very careful out there. I'll try to make some more videos to explain more, but I am currently in a hospital right now, in a sane asylum, where they've put me because I was posting stuff for about 5 years ago onwards about the flat earth and about anti-Newtonian, anti-Einstein, anti-Stephen Hawking, and truth, pro-flat earth, pro-geocentrism, other stuff about the Thai military and CIA connections, how the Nazis started the CIA and NASA, and how the CIA helped found the Thai military junta of Thailand, and things like this. And I've been a conspiracy theorist since I was 17, following those like Alex Jones and David Icke and Michael Bales when I'm younger, and Jordan Maxwell and all the other conspiracy theorists. I'm 39 now, and for the last 5 years they've been torturing me every night, every day. It's 24/7. They wake you up by attacking your stomach, your penis, your eyes, your teeth, your eyelids, your legs, They attack every part of your body, and they don't stop until the nighttime. And at the same time as attacking you, they're talking to you as well. They're telling you loads of things. They're telling you, what they want. They're trying to mind control you and force you to do what they want you to do. They even tell you to kill yourself, which I highly recommend you don't do. You don't listen to any voices in your head that you don't believe are yours, and you won't believe they're yours when they do this to you properly, when they properly are, testing you. I call it testing as in Satan testing Jesus. I mean, some people call this technology Satan technology, Robert Duncan, one of the people who helped make the technology, he's ended up murdered as well, isn't he? He's ended up dead, So many people dead who they've used this on, I believe they did that to my next door neighbor, Emma. I believe they killed her. They got her to hang herself by projecting voices into her brain after attacking her with directed energy weapons. So peace and love to everyone out there. If you wonder what happened to me, where I've been, I still do things. I'm making music, I'm researching things. I'm seeing a lot of connections between these murders, suicides, and directed energy weapons and microwave technology. Even just common suicides and common murders, where you think, there's no conspiracy behind it. It's just, it's just normal. It's just bad. It's just people die and stuff like this. There probably is some conspiracy. There probably is some government agency getting people to commit suicide. You'll see the rise of suicides and deaths and murders in Norfolk, where I live, in Great Yarmouth especially. You can see it, but it's all over Norfolk and Norwich. People dying of weird circumstances. Kelsey Dack, Great Yarmouth, she died recently. She's only about 23 years old, 21 maybe, but she was a young girl, and she died similar way to Amelia Bambridge from Worthing, England, who went on holiday in Thailand, Cambodia border, and ended up dead. All right, so anyone out there, who's missed me and wonder what happened to me, peace and love to you all, and I hope you'll be all right, isn't it?